another up-close video. Today's one is for Tonic's Festive Votive Holder, and this is one of their Create and Make die sets. This is number 4 from the Create and Make series. The Create and Make ones come in 6x6 format, and you actually get the little wallet and the magnetic sheet to be able to put them in your medium storage binders. If you like to store your dies that way, they'll be perfect to go into there. Or if you have any of the Designer's Choice or Showcase binders, you know, the sort of A5 sort of size ones, they will fit in there as well. The holes are the same distance apart, so you can actually put them in there even though they'll be higher up in the folder. Also, there's a visitor here today, Pumpkin. She will not go to sleep by herself even though she is really tired, so I'm holding her while I'm doing this one. The good thing about doing an up close video is I don't really need to use both hands, so I can hold her if I need to. And this die set in particular, this Festive Votive one, you might have seen Tonic share when Showcase 43 came out, which was the Eternal Love Lantern, that there was going to be an add-on die set later in the month. So if you got hold of this one, which I did a video on, and I did the kind of creating your own embossing folder sort of tutorial to go with it. This was Showcase number 43, which was the Eternal Love Lantern. And you might notice that these panels, so the man and the woman or the bride and the groom and this panel, are the same shape as the two festive ones. So you can swap these into this pattern, or you can use these panels into this one to create little votives as well. So it's a nice, this is a standalone set. It creates the triangular or square votives by itself, but if you did have this one, you can create some Christmas lanterns with this one then, with those little drawers underneath it. Or you could do that tutorial with these dies instead of the bride and groom. You could try with the candle and the Christmas tree. So if you got this one, then this one works perfectly with it. There might still be some of these available on the website, I'm not sure. If there are, I will link it as well in case you want to get hold of that too. And the affiliate links will always be in the description box below the video or on my blog post as well. So this is the little 6x6 die set. Tonic have done a few like this in the past. I think maybe they were more Designer's Choice ones that were possibly more the A5 size rather than a 6x6 size, but they've done sets like this where you have different bases for them. So technically, if you had a pentagon, a hexagon, or a heptagon, or octagon, or any shape like that that had the same width sides as this panel, you could make this bigger as well. But to fit inside this small set, they've given us a square and a triangle, so we can make this a 3-sided or a 4-sided votive. And the actual width of the votive panel pieces, if you did want to go look through your stash and see what you might have, it is 2 1/4 inches, or about 5 3/4 centimetres. So if you wanted to look through your stash and see if you had any other more sided shapes that would work for this, then you could have a go and, you know, see if that, I'm pretty sure it would work because there's no funny angles. And the fact that you can do it triangular or square kind of means that you can multiply it up and make it a much larger design if you want to. So that is the sort of main votive panel piece. You've got the beautiful decoration in there, and then you also have this stunning Christmas tree. And as well as having this beautiful Christmas tree design in that panel there, you also get this piece here, which allows you to cut circular baubles with an extra layer to go on the top to make them look a bit dimensional, or a star-shaped bauble as well, or you could just use the star and put it on top of your Christmas tree as well. You could put the little star on top of there. But you also get this gorgeous candle. I love this candle. It's got a really lovely flame. You could do some kind of Hocus Pocus themed card with this and make it a black flame candle. You can really go to town with paper piecing this. You could turn this into a real stained glass kind of idea. So many different ways of using these kind of panels. I probably didn't go into as much detail with the bride and groom because there wasn't as many open sort of areas, and it wasn't so much of a graphic kind of design that would lend itself to paper piecing. But I think these kind of ones like the candle and the Christmas tree would go really nicely for your paper pieced sort of designs. For the triangular based bottom of the votive, you've also got a one smaller die as well, so you have sort of like an extra decorative layer that you could put on the bottom of the votive. Or if you check out my tutorial video tomorrow, it's showing you, it's a bit of a rabbity on kind of video, to be honest. I kind of thought it would be more concise than it was, but it's kind of showing you how to make cards using smaller dies from a set and sort of making them go further, and like my thought process on behind how I put those kind of cards together. So I'm using like the triangle portions, this Christmas tree here, the bells in here as well, and some of the stars and sentiments and things too. So if you want to see other ways to use this die set rather than just to create a little votive holder, then check out tomorrow's video as well. But you've got those two gorgeous triangles there, this lovely little Christmas tree gift tag, so really nice. And it's already got the hole in it, so really easy to sort of thread on as a little gift tag, or it can just be a little dangling decoration on here as well. But because it's got the hole in there, you might not want to use it as a Christmas tree, but there's nothing to stop you using the aperture as a Christmas tree. So you can actually make use of that Christmas tree shape by using it as an aperture. You could even cut the tree into this triangle. Doesn't that look nice, the way it's nestled in there? Or you could cut the tree into the square and use it in a different fashion as well, as a topper on a card, turn it into a shaker, all sorts of different things. I love the bell that we get in here because it's a gorgeous bell anyway that definitely could go for weddings. So if you had the Eternal Love Lantern, then you could add these kind of bells to it as well. But it has the outline detail and it has the solid detail, so you can cut this one and layer it directly over the top of this one, maybe the same colours, maybe different contrasting finishes of cardstock as well, and you can get beautiful effects by layering up the bell on top of there. Then we also have a gorgeous banner die. If you want an update on Pumpkin, she's just fallen asleep with her head in my hand. Then we have a gorgeous little banner die here, which has some beautiful debossing detail that you'll see on some of the cards that I made. And you've also got 4 different debossing sentiments that cut into a banner that goes onto this banner, and these are the same size as the little Celebrate With Us banner sentiment from showcase number 43 as well. So again, if you wanted to mix and match across them, you can have Celebrate With Us on this little banner if you want to. But the ones that we're getting in this kit, or in this Create and Make, are Peace, Love and Joy, Merry and Bright, Oh Christmas Tree, and Joyful Season as well. So beautiful little festive sentiments in there that are perfect little additions to your Christmas cards, which is why I wanted to do the tutorial video of using some of these elements to make small Christmas cards. But even though I've shown in tomorrow's video, you know, how to use some of the triangles and the basic sort of pieces from this set, there's nothing to stop you cutting these into your cards as well, or, as I said before, following the tutorial that went along with showcase number 43 and creating your own embossing kind of plate pieces to do a faux embossing folder kind of look. Maybe just having the focal candle in there. I don't know if this would fit diagonally inside. No, it wouldn't quite fit diagonally inside that square, but you could pick a nesting shape that you have that you could maybe then cut first and then emboss it into if you wanted it to be more of like a topper as well. So yeah, there's so many different ways you can play around with this. And I probably should explain more about the actual votive portion as well. We've had a few votive kind of dies before from Tonic, and well, I suppose a lot of them are probably the multi-sized bottom sort of portions of the box as well. But this one has a beautiful filigree kind of top. These almost look like stylized poinsettias in there, and then beautiful swirly pieces. We've got like stripes down here, again swirls up the side which could kind of be candy canes, and then you've got the 2 interchangeable panels in there as well. And with the votive, obviously a votive is supposed to have a tea light in, so you'd use a battery operated one, but because we have these different panels, you can do it in different ways. You could have the whole side with the filigree detail, and then you could put acetate or vellum behind, or leave it open depending, or you can play around with just having the outside as the open and putting solid behind the detail, or you can have solid behind the outside and having the opening in the detail. And I've done one of each of those for my samples to kind of show you that. And also the main panel for the votive as well, it just has a glue tab along the bottom which you'll stick either to the triangle or the square for your base, and I tend to use 2 bases and put one on first, sort of I tend to cover the first one in adhesive, put it inside the box and fold the glue tabs over, so I've got the adhesive facing outwards from the bottom, and then I take the second one and put it over the top of the bottom as well. But you can kind of do it however you like to, and then you just have the glue tab on the side, which then glues straight round to the next panel, so either 3 or 4 in a row, or as I said, if you have a pentagon, hexagon, heptagon, octagon, any kind of multi-sided shape that has a 2 1/4 inch or 5 3/4 centimetre length side on it, then you could use these panels on that as well. So it's quite a quick video today, which is good because Pumpkin's quite heavy now. She's over 5 kilograms and she's quite heavy in my arm. But these are the 2 votives that I created. So I went with like traditional colours for this candle one, and I decided to do the triangular base on it. I've already stuck my sticker on here already. But I did the triangular base on it, and I have done the detail to be the part where the light would shine through, and I put some of the Tonic gold vellum behind there as well, so it would kind of give a gold flickering candle sort of effect. But look how beautiful the detail is, and the candle's got a little bow and some holly around the centre of it as well. Really, really pretty detail in there. So really gorgeous just by itself anyway, or you could use that as a panel on a card too. It's not really my taste for a panel on a card, but you definitely could use it for a panel on a card, or to create a bookmark or something as well. So you can do all sorts of different gifts with this set too. So I've just done the same thing on all 3 sides, and the way I did this was I cut the panel from dark red, and then I cut the panel from a lighter red, and I cut all of the detail into the lighter red panel. Then I took the solid darker red panel and put the lighter red panel over the top, then recessed this die, just the middle die, back into the lighter red panel that had the die cut detail into it, and then ran that through my machine where the darker panel was still underneath it. It doesn't cut all the way through because you've got this top piece of cardstock already on there, but you can then remove the lighter red panel, so you're just left with the darker red panel with a debossed impression of this middle die. And then you can recess the die back into that darker red panel and then die cut that out. I kind of hope that made sense, but that's how I did this partial sort of die cutting and getting the panels in the perfect position. And then when you come to stick the box together, the main box is made from the dark red panel, but the light red panel, we still want that to fit over the top, but we don't need the glue tabs. So for this one, if you butt the straight edge up against your trimmer and cut the panel to 2 1/4 inches or 5 3/4 centimetres, or you can measure that for yourself to make sure that's definitely right, then you can place it directly over the top, and then you kind of get a little sort of peak of the darker where the folds are. It looks, you can see it more on this one, what I mean. You can see the pink, see? So I'd cut the green panels shorter at the side and then cut the tab off the bottom. But you can still see the glue tabs of the pink, which I quite like. I quite like that little bit poking out of it. So you can do that to create this kind of effect. And similarly, you do the same thing for this version. So this one I went with wacky colours. I went with pink and green just to do something a little bit different, and I left the detail open, but again you could have sandwiched vellum between there or stuck vellum on the inside depending what you would prefer, or acetate as well. And for this one, you do the same thing I was trying to explain with the light red and the dark red cardstock, but you have obviously the green and the pink cardstock, and you recess the outside die, not the inside die, and do the whole thing where you run it through, you get a debossed impression on the bottom one, then you line it back up and then run it through to get the proper cut on it as well. So you can kind of do whichever way that you want. I think maybe I prefer this way, but it does give a different sort of result this way, and you could go further and decorate this more. You don't just have to stop at, you know, the solid colour behind the pattern. Because this has got a solid base behind it, you could then go to town and paper piece this back in, but still have all of the light shine through the edge of the votive as well. And then this is the 4-sided one, so it's basically 2 1/4 inches square for the 4-sided one. So maybe for a slightly larger battery operated tea light, I think you could just fit one inside the 3-sided one, or maybe you could do like a coil of the little fairy lights that come with those tiny little button batteries on them. You can maybe put a coil of them in there for that one. So those are the 2 actual votives. And then I also have the 3 cards that you'll see me make in tomorrow's tutorial video. Some of them are like a little bit simple. I was saying in the video I'm not as keen on this one as I thought I would be, but I do quite like how they turned out. Quite simple but quick. So if you haven't made your Christmas cards yet, and maybe this is the first Christmas die set you're adding to your stash this year, because it is quite a versatile one. The fact that you can do a votive, a panel for a card, a bookmark, tags, and use all of these pieces for creating cards like these as well. It's quite a versatile small little set that's not too expensive as well to add to your stash, and you get those 4 sentiments too, which is nice. So yeah, if this is like the first Christmassy die set you're adding into your stash and you want to make some quick Christmas cards with it, then, you know, these are quite a nice little bit of inspiration. So this was just using a piece of green card. I tore it across the top, left the bottom straight, and then cut the Christmas tree 5 times across it. And using that aperture, no one would know that that is a die to cut a tag out, which is really nice. Then I've used the star that's supposed to layer on top of the star bauble and the words "Oh Christmas Tree" just underneath this one to highlight that Christmas tree. And then I've also put some confetti in the background just to add a little bit of something to that white space, and that is the Iridescent Ice Stars for that one. I don't know if you can hear Pumpkin, she's sort of snoring a little bit. But anyway, yeah, that's the Iridescent Ice Stars on that one. I've used them on all of them. Then this is the next one. I do quite like this one. I thought this was going to be my favourite, but I think the Christmas tree one's my favourite in the end. But this is just using a mixture of the triangle dies, so cutting 2 together to give a skinny border, putting the smaller one back inside, or using the larger and the smaller and offsetting them as well to give a different look. I've used the Peace, Love, Joy sentiment on this one. I've layered up the bells with glitter card behind and an amber coloured card as the detail. I've used amber stars on here as well, and then I've just used a thin twine to hang the bells, but a metallic thread or something would look brilliant on there too. So really simple design, and you can easily switch out the colours, make it more colourful with using, instead of 2 different cardstocks in green, you could use red and green or pink and green, or gold and red or gold and green. Any kind of combination of Christmas colours would work nicely for this one. So again, another really nice and simple card. And I was just thinking, I just thought of this. If you like to make larger cards, so I always love to make smaller cards, but if you were someone who would rather make a larger card, what you could do is do this onto a square panel rather than the rectangle, and then have these wrap over the top of the square panel and then mat and layer it up a little bit, or maybe use one of Tonic's really large matting and layering kind of dies in a square form with a border around the edge, or maybe you've got a Christmassy border or something that you could put behind this as kind of like a panel with an extra bit of mirror card around it, and sort of mat and layer it up for a 6x6, 7x7 or 8x8 kind of card as well. So you can definitely amplify these, and obviously this one you can easily turn that into a square card, or do it as a DL card as well and just have a longer piece of card that you've torn and cut more Christmas trees into it too. And then the final card that I've done has got 3 bells on. I kind of added this square in the background to sort of ground the bells, but I'm not 100% sure if I like it. I tore the edge and then I added some white details, and then I thought, oh, I'll add those confettis on there to kind of make it look like a pattern. So I'm not 100% sure if I like it, but it's on the way to something that I would like. I think I need to fiddle around with it a bit more and change up a couple of the bits and pieces on it. But another sort of idea, using a scrap of card. Yeah, actually all of these are made from scraps. All of the bits and pieces I took from my scrap box. So, you know, it's a really nice sort of way of using up bits and pieces as well to create Christmas cards for people. Maybe you're making tons for charity, and you don't want to put too much money into your cards, but you want to be able to make a lot of money by people buying them for charity. You can go through all of your scraps and use up, you know, things that you've got that you probably never would get to, but you can make some beautiful cards to kind of raise some money as well. So this one says Merry and Bright on it as well for the sentiment. But lots of different ways that you can kind of use all of these little dies from this Festive Votive Holder die set. So I really hope you enjoyed this up-close video looking at the Create and Make number 4 die set, which is the Festive Votive Holder. And don't forget, if you already have showcase number 43, which is the Eternal Love Lantern, then this one will go absolutely perfectly with it. Or it's just a beautiful standalone set as well that's so versatile for card panels, bookmarks, gift tags, or for using all of the smaller dies to create these kind of cluster designs for your cards as well. So really hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next one. Bye!